Hello and welcome to Talking Really. Today's subject we're going to be talking about is my early years as a child. I was not very mobile. I relied on a small wheelchair for mobility, and I also had things like pedal cars that I used to drive around the garden. And I really wasn't able to walk very much. I used to crawl around the house, and obviously when I was out and about with my parents we used to go in the wheelchair. Up until the age of about 8 or 9 I was reliant on that, and really when I went to school I went to a day school in Bristol called Claremont School. It is a world-renowned school for disabled children, and it's still there. In fact, I did go and visit one time. I didn't film very much, but I filmed the exterior of the school when I was doing a vlog about Henleaze area. I'm going back in time down memory lane, and I've come to Henleaze in Bristol, and I'm visiting my school. And I came here when I was obviously very young, so from age 5 until the age of 11. So I was attending a special school called, it's called Henleaze School at the moment, Claremont School. I've been back here before, many years ago I came back to have a look around. And they've actually done some work inside and built some more buildings out the back for the children, and it is still a special school. In my early years we used to live in North Bristol, and I used to commute into the school via one of the social services minibuses. So we used to get picked up in the morning, and I went there from the age of 5 up until the age of 10 or 11 when I left and went to my next school, which I'll tell you about in another vlog. It was a very progressive school for disabled people, bearing in mind that this is my age of 5, that was 1966, so quite a long time ago when disabled people weren't really integrated into society and school life. They had separate schools. It was seen as being the way to educate disabled people at the time. So from then until I left 1972 and I started my new school, I was there every day, 5 days a week, and I had a headmistress who was called Miss Ram, and she was very progressive with spotting the more intelligent children and basically taking them under her wing, which she did. And I often remember having sort of sessions with her where she was sort of very encouraging and to encourage me to have an open mind about learning. I think I lost that when I went to the next school, because I really didn't enjoy school life. It was very boring and mundane, and I didn't really see the point of it. However, in my early years I sort of remember being fairly okay about school and did quite well apparently. So, you know, and there was extra lessons available. I know my parents sort of helped me out with that, with my reading and writing, and try to give me a head start in that. The early remembrance of school life was when I was probably 8 or 9. I went up to I had this dream of being able to walk to get my present from Santa Claus. Every year we had Santa Claus come in and give out presents for the kids. And if you imagine that most of these are very severely disabled, so they were in wheelchairs and things. There was quite a few walkers like myself who could do a little bit or just push themselves around. However, for me, my challenge was I wanted to walk to collect my present, which I decided that I would do. Anyway, I practiced and then the big day came, and I managed to do it. When I went back to have a look at the school to revisit it, I've been back several times, I discovered that the distance was actually only no more than 10 feet that I had to walk, but it seemed like it was forever. I do actually remember that I nearly fell over once, but I managed to stay upright and get my present. I mean, I was more interested in the present than I was about the applause I got, which I do remember that. But I didn't really take any notice of that. I was more interested in getting my present and finding out what they'd given me. So for me, you know, and it was the start of an achievement I made for myself, making myself walk. I mean, that was just the beginning of it. I really didn't, it wasn't just a miracle overnight that I could walk again, or walk for the first time. It was actually a long process from there of practicing being able to walk alone. It wasn't until I went to boarding school that I was fully walking around. Well, I say mostly walking around, and also falling over. The early years, I remember I was very much a loner as far as friends was concerned. I had a few friends at school who actually went on with me to the next school. Wehowever, outside of school, we weren't really that sort of. We didn't get together. Because I wasn't that mobile, and they weren't that mobile, and they lived all over Bristol, to be honest with you, so it's quite a big city. So my actual life was spent in my room, playing with my own toys on my own, and even though I had a sister, I mean, my sister was able-bodied and younger than me by 5 years, so for a long time, up until I went to boarding school, she was too young to be sort of, you know, playing around with, as it were. And of course then the idea is that because I was sort of very quiet and very on my own, I became very sort of self-centered and shy, and I didn't really seek out friendship from outside of that, because I was quite happy with in my room playing with my toys, my cars, my soldiers, my airfix kit things that I had. So I was quite happy with my life as it was. So I think that because you don't socialise at a young age, that you don't really get used to it and you don't understand how to do it. Though I think that was the downside of being on my own. The fact is I didn't know how to make friends with other children. But the early years were quite okay as far as, you know, remembering them was concerned. I do remember that I was very stuck in my ways. Even now I do like organisation, I do like to plan ahead, and everything I do is very stressful. If I'm going to go somewhere, I need to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, you know, how to get there. I really don't handle stuff very well as far as that's concerned. So all of my foreign trips have been planned meticulously, you know, backup plans in place and all of this stuff. And even as a young kid, I really didn't handle change very well. So for example, I used to enjoy going horse riding. I used to go riding for the disabled. I mean, I fell off a few times, but you know, apparently I did quite well. And I could have, now if I'd have come in, and I could have been an Olympic star. As it turned out, we used to go every week, and one time we came back late because there was I don't know what it was, there was some issue with returning back to the school. Now every night we used to get a lift back in my minibus back to my house. Well, this one night, because we were late, the minibus had gone. So of course I'm there in the school, worrying myself sick about, oh my God, I can't get home. How am I going to get home? And that's all I could focus on was how was I going to get home. As it turned out, obviously I wasn't alone because there were staff members, and I had a taxi home. But I don't remember that bit. But all I remember is the trauma of being left there at the school and missing my bus home and not enjoying that particular aspect of it. In actual fact, it was so traumatic that I decided I refused to go to horse riding as of then. So I didn't go back after that because of that incident. Now you might think that is very much a completely ludicrous situation. Yes, it is now, and I understand that perhaps it wasn't in my best interest. However, at the time as a child, it was just so traumatic that nobody was going to make me change my mind. While I was at this school, I'll give another example of being very sort of stuck in my ways and very traumatic about change is, and I think it's all about bucking the system as well, because, you know, when you get somebody tell you you can't do something and you think to yourself, well, why can't I do it? Why? You know, there is no logical reason for you telling me that I can't do something. Why can't I do it? And when they can't explain to you why you can't do it, you just get really, you dig your feet in the ground and think, no, I'm not having it. One of those particular times was the school meals. The main course was disgusting usually, and I used to enjoy the pudding. So I said to them, why can't I have the pudding first? Because that's the best bit. The puddings are already prepared and the main meal is already dished out. So why can't I just have the pudding first? And they all said, no, you can't. So I said, why not? And of course they couldn't give me an answer. And then I refused to eat any food because I wanted my pudding first. Anyway, it was a right old palaver, and it went on for weeks. And I refused to eat the main course first because it was usually disgusting, and I preferred to eat the pudding first, which is logical. You know, if it's the best bit, then let's have that first, and then if you don't like the rest of it, then you haven't got to wait half an hour for your pudding, and you're sat there thinking, this is rubbish. You're watching everybody else eat, and then you think, well, get on to the best bit, let's have the pudding. However, they wouldn't do it until the very end, when I started to think, well, there has to be a way to get this done. In the end, they gave in, and in the end I was having my pudding first because I enjoyed the pudding, and I enjoyed all of them, and then I would eat my pudding and then have the main course come up, and usually I left it because it was disgusting, but you know, sometimes I need to eat it. But I said, why is it difficult to change it round? If it's already dished out, you know, I don't see a problem with that. And this has been my life. I've been like that all my life. If somebody says to me no, I say why, and I say why because I don't understand what's the problem with changing stuff. You know, if somebody said, oh, you can't do that, I say why, and they can't really answer it usually. So that was my early life as a child, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think it developed me into who I am today, and good or bad, you know, I've got some unusual quirks. Anyway, goodbye for now. I'll catch you again for another episode. Bye for now.